The late dictator Ferdinand Marcos' remains were covertly flown in by an Air Force helicopter from Sarat, Ilocos Norte to the Libingan ng mga Bayani in Taguig City today at noon. The burial, attended by Marcos' children and his widow Imelda, was highlighted by a 21-gun salute and a short program lasting for no more than an hour. Both pro- and anti-Marcos groups were taken by surprise as they received the news that Marcos was to be buried today, November 18, at the Libingan ng mga Bayani in Fort Bonifacio, Taguig. The Supreme Court decision last November 8 ruled 9-5 in favor of the burial of the late president on grounds of his military service to the country amid strong opposition from various people's organizations. The opposition argue that a human rights violator and a plunderer like Marcos deserves no hero's treatment.
Hindi katanggap-tanggap to eh. Sasabihin ni Duterte na laban siya sa mga imperialista, samantalang hindi naman sikreto na si Marcos siya mismo ang punong tuta ng mga imperialista nung siya yung pangulo, no?
The burial itself, however, was widely known to be done later this month, but got steamrolled amidst private talks between the Department of National Defense and the Marcos clan yesterday afternoon. The Taguig City Police District, along the Philippine Navy, barricaded the entrances to the cemetery, allowing only the Marcos family and their supporters in government to enter. Outside, the disagreement between Marcos loyalists and various opposing groups went from vocal to physical early on in the protest.
Marcos tuta, dictator, di Bayani! Marcos tuta, dictator, di Bayani!
The confrontation led to police and loyalists shoving a number of peaceful protesters and ripping their placards reading, "Hindi Bayani si Marcos, never forget, never again."
Don't touch them! Don't touch them! You have no idea what freedom of expression is. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I think this shows how the Marcoses have been all along. That they are not accountable, they're not transparent, and they're not after the peaceful healing of the nation. What they want is just to leverage their own name. And that shows off in the sneaky way that they have handled this burial. They come in without informing the public, without informing us that these are the plans, and then they just shove it in our mouths, shove it down our throats. And that shows just how immoral this entire thing is and how criminal this act is.
You respect our group here, then you get out of here. Okay? Okay. Out. You call that respecting?
You don't know.
Oh, you don't call that respecting. You respect us.
You respect
Go there.
You respect us.
I didn't do that.
But still, it's almost
Still, then why you should visit us here?
I was just freely expressing I don't intend to hurt anyone or to have violence or to inflict pain, but they ripped it off. They tried to push us, the ones who are pro Marcos. They tried to even attack us, to hit us, and it's really wrong because I thought we were a democracy, and in a democracy everyone has opposing views, but we don't have to really hurt each other. And it's just really sad.
Hindi ba niyo alam na hindi niyo payagan si Marcos na ilibing? Maraming trahedya dumating sa Pilipinas.
mga lolo ko na matay dahil sa martial law.
Kalikasan ang papatay sa'yo. Tandaan mo yan. Wala kang alam.
The loyalists from the Society of Ilocano Loyalists Alliance Worldwide were observably a lot older than their counterparts. When asked about this, Imelda Tugano said,
Lahat ng mga ni Marcos, lahat ng project, lahat ng mga magagandang nagawa niya ay na-witness ko. Nakita ko nga dyan, mga bata pa sila ay sila ay pinanganak kailan lang. So wala silang alam. So bakit marami silang sinasabi na hindi naman totoo. So palagay ko wala silang karapatang sabihin yon. Kaming mga nasa edad na ang may alam na si Marcos ay bayani at dapat ilibing sa libingan ng mga bayani. So Marcos is a hero.
Totoo naman na hindi namin naabutan yung panahon ng Marcos, yung panahon ng diktadurya, pero alam naman natin sa kasaysayan natin na yung panahon ng diktadurya isa sa pinakamalagim na panahon dito sa Pilipinas. Ang dami nalang pinatay, ang daming pinaslang. Hanggang ngayon wala pa rin yung mga bangkay ng mga kaanak, ng mga pinatay na mga antay ng rehimeng Marcos. Kaya ayun, parang hindi naman nila mabubura yung buong kasaysayan natin. Kahit sabihin nila na yun yung pinakamaganda at glorious na days dito.
Occupy Libingan ng mga Bayani member Milky Babylonia cried out for mutual respect of both sides' right to freedom of expression.
But we're here united with one common goal, and that is to say and tell them that Marcos is not a hero. He never was and he never will be. History and records tell otherwise, at yun po yung pinaninindigan namin, ang katotohanan. We're here to speak out for the victims of martial law and tell them na he never siya naging bayani. Isa po itong offense or insensitive gesture para sa mga tunay na bayani na nakalibing sa libingan ng mga bayani. At nandito po kami peacefully telling you na hindi po nakakalimot ang aming henerasyon.
Meanwhile, El Shaddai brother Henry D. Alfonso has this to say about the younger protesters.
Huwag na silang manggulo rito dahil ito private property para sa mga namatay. Sana po, pagbigyan na sana nila yung yumao na Ferdinand Marcos na mahimlay naman sa tamang libingan.
The President has said, Mr. Duterte has said that that he's allowed this to make sure that there's peace in the nation, that there's healing. But we ask Mr. Duterte, what is peace without justice? And what is justice without truth? So you cannot be peaceful in the face of injustice. You cannot be peaceful in the face of untruth. And that's why we are morally obligated to respond by protesting, by showing our indignation at all this.
As of this point, kahit walang nag-oorganisa sa inyo, kayo mismong mag-organisa ng mga protesta na pwede ninyong simulan o puntahan.